The imagery of what blackness is. And then we also went over blackface. So in movies during the early 20th century, going into from the 1910s to the 1920s, silent film, 1930s, 1950s, classic Hollywood, from the 60s to the early 80s, black exploitation film, 80s until the early 2000s, or the turn of the century, showing how black people groups in America, black people groups who are Americans in America have created their own bodies of work, their own arts, their artistry, films, brilliantly, I may add, showcased their version of what blackness was and is to them. Going all connected to representation. How are people being represented? And then once again, going back to that live yesterday, addressing how whiteness displayed blackness in films was to show blackness as the humble, loyal servant. That's in film. And then in the theaters, whiteness, due to their, so whiteness in theater showcase blackness in a particular fashion. And in this fashion, which is very much negative, I would classify this negative, and blackface and all the other tropes and stereotypes created what they imagined in their minds. They expanded their imagination to create an imagery of a black person, man, woman, man, boy or girl, girl or boy, of what it means to be black to them. All in an attempt to cope with their insecurities, their infirmities, their inadequacies, their poverty, and them feeling squeezed out of the modeled majority in America, the United States of America, at that time. So they expressed their culture, because how they display blackness is a part of their culture. They created how they saw blackness. So white European groups who are American in America, white Euro groups of Americans in America have created, based upon a person, based upon an idea, based upon a philosophy, of what blackness was. Speed up to today, has the sentiment changed? Hence, this is why blackness in film is important. Excuse me, whiteness in film is important. This is why whiteness in film, a genre or a piece of my puzzle of my research, which again, my research is entitled Kemetic-Shemitic Hypothesis. There's a lot of parts to this puzzle, a lot of pieces to this puzzle of what my research is about. A piece of this research is whiteness in film. And the question is, has the sentiment changed? And if it has, how? If the sentiment has changed, how has it changed? If the shadows and the echoes from space, so I have an acronym that I use, land, space, and time. Is associated with how Homo sapiens evolved culturally in their civilizations, creating civilizations, having societies, having social norms, once again creating cultures, how they evolve over time, but through this acronym, through land. Land is a continent, region, area, nation, country, city, town. Land. Space. Where are they at? How are they conducting themselves? How are they fashioned? How are they moving through life? Your space, how are you representing yourself? How are you showing up? And through time, day, month, year, decade, century, generation, centennial, bicentennial. Land, space, and time. That's the acronym I'm using. Land is also going into the agriculture. The space is also going to how they use that land. How they created boundaries. And time period. So land, space, and time. Going back, I digress to what I'm saying here in this classroom, in the classroom, Cafe Wish podcast in the classroom, Whiteness in Film. How whiteness in film creates images and how these images have impact on cultures. How whiteness in film creates images and how these images have impacts on cultures. So the recent question that I asked was, has the sentiment, meaning, has the vibe changed from the silent films, classic Hollywood, black exploitation films, from the Harlem Renaissance until now? has whiteness in film and how whiteness used blackness in film and in theater has much changed? And if so, how? In what ways? And then, in what ways are they the same? If there is a change, what is the change? And if they are the same, if nothing has changed, then what is that thing that did not change? I encourage you to explore that. Once again, you're a part of my research, right? The audience. You're a part of my research. Examine that if you choose to. Whiteness in film. All right, so now I'm going to continue on and let's look at something else. Part of this whiteness in film. So I found something here from it's called a website called Springer.com. All right. Springer Nature Link. Link.springer.com. And there is, looks like an article that is from a book entitled Whiteness, Vampires, and Humanity in Contemporary Film and Television. And it looks like this is an excerpt or using pages from this book, citing a chapter here, which is chapter 5. All right, so I'm guessing the book is not called that, but the chapter here. The chapter is entitled Whiteness, Vampires, and Humanity in Contemporary Film